Hello, and welcome back to the Mead Wargaming Warhammer podcast. I'm your guest host again for today, and today I will be joined by...
Jay.
And... There we go. I suppose Joe was kind of on that side rather than
got
below
it
me.
wrong.
I did get it wrong, I've ruined it.
Streak is over.
I know. Well, thank you both for joining me today on this little guest run-through. We are going to be going on a little bit of a different tour today, because in today's episode, we're going to take a brief detour away from Legions Imperialis, and instead I'm going to make the two of you venture into my neck of the woods. We're going to talk about Kill Team today, which I know neither of you two have played, but as a game, for those that aren't familiar, it is a much more fast-paced, intended to be, skirmish game with small teams as opposed to the big legions that we run in Legions. And, you know, I have considerably more experience in that one compared to the other members of the Mead Wargaming. But with the latest team having just come out, our Admech versus Tyranids, we're looking to explore what kind of ideas the next teams are going to look like. I've asked the team here to come up with some ideas and, you know, what they would be looking to see potentially in the next kill teams that might get them to even consider picking it up in the future. That's the plan for today. How do we feel about that, you two?
Nice, yeah.
Sounds perfect to me. It's definitely a game system I'd like to incorporate into our little niche on this channel, so I'm quite keen to get involved with it. And in fairness, I have played a couple of games. In fact, you played one with me.
I did, and you played it in a completely different way to every other person I've ever seen play it. So that was an insightful experience, actually. So I'll be intrigued to see how you've taken this idea and run with it in a little bit of a different way. So yes, but I guess without any kind of further ado in our intro, shall we jump across into our tankard talk?
Sounds appropriate.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Right, see you there.
See you there.
Hello again, and welcome back to our Tanker Talk, our opportunity to look at what hobby progress we've all made and talk about, you know, what kind of terrain, what options we've kind of been building, and hopefully look at some things that have some paint on them. Maybe. I mean, we have all been respectively somewhat busy outside of the hobbying sphere, but we still managed to get a little bit done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie, I cheated. It's an old model.
No, you shouldn't. You didn't need to say that. You didn't need to say that. You could have convinced us all that you'd.
No, I'm honest. What can I say?
Okay. So, what have we got on the Tanker Talk today? Joe, I do believe this is yours.
It certainly is.
It's looking very spiffy.
So, I have actually managed to get down a bit of paint on something, which is novel for me, and that is the first sort of painted of my Dark Mechanicum.
Is that just that one panel painted so far?
It is the two front panels, and then I went on to complete it, but I don't have any pictures of it to hand out today. So,
So is it that kind of burgundy on both sides?
yeah, it's that on both sides, and then it will be down onto the legs.
That's more of a purpley pink than a burgundy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Vulpus pink.
Contrast.
Contrast, yeah.
Yeah, I know the one.
Over metallic, and then
I love contrast over metallic.
It does look good. So is that I'm trying to guess in terms of how it's been done here. Is that a black prime and then a silver dry brush?
Mm-hmm.
Is that dry brush silver? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Because I feel like the giveaway is it's got the very much the distinctive kind of highs and lows on that one. And still some of the black showing through.
I thought that was just lead belched and then washed.
No,
it's, now I'm looking at it a bit more. Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, so I brushed over and then did the contrast over the metallic. I did purple originally just to try it out, and then I did the pink, and I really liked how the pink turned out. So I'm sticking with that one.
The pink does look good.
It's very striking.
Yeah. I've been intrigued to see
the metallic better as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
It has a very good look. I'm going to be it's a good ways away kind of from the traditional Dark Mechanicus of it's dark silver and also black. Just layers upon layers of dark that doesn't really show anything else. So yeah, nice bit of pink just really makes that one stand out.
Yeah, I think that is the key point. It's going to look very impressive compared to typical Dark Mech forces.
I want it to stand out decently.
I do also enjoy that the background, that looks like that's a sea of other things that have been partway through being done.
Yeah, basically.
To be honest, if you took away the paint pots, that almost looks just like a Mechanicum background. It's grey, like the sticky outfits. If it wasn't for the pots, you could almost claim that was a terrain piece back there.
Yeah, cute.
Alright, on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next one. Da-da-da. It's me!
The host with the most.
So this is, conveniently, a member of my kill team that I'm currently running at the minute. So there's another member of the Goremongers that I've got finished off. This is the Goremonger Inciter, the only ranged specialist operative in that entire, Khorne-themed team. And I'll pose it to you two, because I'm trying to get across almost like a narrative element in a model. Where do you think this particular individual was originally from?
Catachan.
Yeah, it's feeling very Catachan.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that's I hadn't actually specified, like, I would have taken just Guard in general. But yeah, the idea being is that they are like this, like, somebody who was a member of the Guard and it basically just fell to Khorne. So that's hence like the white top and the green shorts, and then the bolt the auto pistols done up in that kind of very traditional style there.
Yeah, no, it's very easy to tell, but to me it just screams Catachan.
I'll take Catachan as a thing. There is one thing that is clearly missing from any kind of Khorne model at this stage.
Blood.
Yep.
Which I think is going to look really good across that white top, just like a nice spray kind of going out from there.
That is a lovely white that you've got on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to? So that white there was done with the whole thing had been primed in black, and then just dry brushed with, I think it was like Xandri dust, and then went to like a Dawn yellow, so it was like a really kind of like on the warm side of a dry brush. But then that is just Army Painter speed paint blinding light over it, and yeah, it came out with a really, really nice white over that section.
Yeah.
And all of the metallics were done using my absolute new favorite product, the AK Interactives play markers, the paint pens. Even let me try and say that correctly or fast.
So they've been working well for you then.
The brass that's their brass color that was done on all the kind of goldy bits, the brassy bits. And even the little plugs that are like in the arm that you can see there, and like just in like the clavicle, like the neck, that was literally just like a dot. And even though it looked like a lot, because it's quite a thin paint, when it dries into the recess.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So like you put it down and it looks like it's too much, but because it's designed to go through the pen, it comes out quite thin, and then just dries and creates like this nice recessed element to it. Same with like around the guns, like the little inlays on the magazines. When I put it on, you couldn't see those inlays, and then when it dried, well, you can see them now, and that's all literally done with one coat of it the entire way.
That's why.
So
one coat paints, best paints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so interestingly, they all seem to interact like a little bit differently. So the brass, I can get down to a really kind of fine level. Like I can actually do quite fine details of the brass. But the silver just seems to have a little bit more of a liquidy consistency. So it ends up, you've got to be way more careful with it, and it can potentially overrun. So I had to do like a little bit of tidying up in some areas. But for the most part, you just kind of like, I can just very quickly slap it on, and then it's good to go. Another one of mine. Yeah. This I think this model might have been briefly shown on the channel before. I can't remember, but it is now finished. I finally got around to doing the base. I realise now that I haven't quite done the rim yet on him being all kind of finished up, but yeah, doing a little bit of kind of dry brushing around the bottom as well to kind of get that like nice weathery effect to him. And then the nice big banner. I think I've still got some little decals and stuff to put on there, but yeah, I'm quite chuffed with my little captain there. And obviously, is magnetized, Jamie.
Of course, I should expect nothing less.
Yeah, everything's magnetized. It just means that I'd have to also then have a bunch of different shoulders for him and everything else.
Yeah, that's alright. But it'll be worth it, because there'll always be that occasion where you just think, oh, I really wish I had a power sword this time.
Well, hilariously, there has been that exact situation, because going back and playing 4th edition, it's not a case that a power fist is just always the right option.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a sword does have its big advantages in that edition because of initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm going up against my Eldar, my mate's Eldar, I'm like, I really need to go a little quicker in this, and I can't wait for that power fist to spool up before I can get my hit in.
Not that we're in any way biased towards older editions.
No, they're just better, clearly.
A strong statement, but one firmly agreed upon.
And then veering wildly away from Warhammer.
This is very wildly away from Warhammer.
Yeah. Jamie, I'm going to be polite. I'm taking it you do not recognise this character.
No.
Joe?
I do. They are cyberpunk.
They are indeed. It was a model inspired by, because it unlicensed, inspired by Rebecca from Cyberpunk. I recently got together with a mate of mine, and we did a game of Kill Sample Process, which is a skirmish cyberpunk game based off of the Mork-Borg rules and Forbidden Psalm and stuff like that. And basically, it was like it's a little skirmish game, so we threw together some little cyberpunk models. I literally did that in like an afternoon, just so I had a couple models with some paint on them to do a little skirmish game, mostly done with contrasts. It's quite fun doing something that is very different to Warhammer in terms of its colour scheme and in the vibrancy that you're trying to get out of it. As a game system, and I know this isn't what we're necessarily going into, but as a game system, I'll just say, Kill Sample Process is brutal. Things go down, and they're short quick. They ain't getting back up. And it's like, if they've gone down, you've got a chance to roll to save them at the end of the game. If they go down and somebody else runs across, they're just dead.
Is that one of the models by the person that does the xenomorph?
Yes, Papsicle.
Yeah.
Yes, it is 100% one of those. And I've got some of their actual other models now for when I do anything else that's cyberpunk related, because they do some very, very nice cyberpunk models, which I think possibly leads into the next one as well.
I think so.
Which is similarly a little cyberpunk model. I was looking for free files that I could use to kind of bolster out the team. And this was just a free file that somebody had done. Print out the little cat unit. I think I'm most proud of the little cat unit that sits next to them. With the little eye looking up. So they were my hacker in the game. So you essentially, it's like their equivalency if you were playing it in like different games would be like the magic powers that they've got, but they get like hack abilities. And their thing, they had one which let me take over somebody else. If they had anything like cyberware or things like that, you could take them over. Unfortunately, my opponent had nothing other than a gun drone that had the cyber keyword, and by the time I got to the point where I could take it over, they burnt through all the ammo in it, so it was just a useless like hunk of metal. I was like, oh, I could try and take over. It's not going to help me, but I could try and take over. The more fun one they had was a ability which is you can, as an action, call in. It's described as like a dark web delivery. And what it was is you just get a random weapon from a table. So every single time you just be like, okay, I'm not going to take any weapons. We're going to see what gets delivered by drone to me in this game. So I only managed to get it to go off once, but it ran the gamut from like a broken bottle to like a rocket launcher, and you could go any way within those particular ranges there. So I only
lovely and chaotic.
Yeah, I only managed to get a grenade in the entire time that I was doing it, but it was put to good use because when models have about 8 wounds in this game, and you can have weapons that do like 2d10 damage, you can potentially just wipe things off the board with a single shot. So yeah,
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. And in terms of painting for this one, mostly done through contrasts. The blue is, I think it's like cerulean blue. Which one is it? It's like a
Is it GW?
GW, yeah, GW one.
Celestium?
Celestial, yes, that's the one.
Mm.
For like the overalls, it's kind of give like an overalls kind of vibe. And then the goggles were done with the Necron glow one, Tesseract glow. Thank you. And like various bits like Black Templar over the guns and things like that to give them like that black look. Wildwood on the boots to give them like a slightly different leather vibe compared to the straps. Which is snakebite leather, which is my favourite leather to put on things.
It is a very nice leather.
It is good.
Such a nice leather. Oh my god! Like as a just a leather just to put stuff on. And then the bases, they're silver. Can you guess what I used for them? It was the pens again. It was the pens again. It was like bam, 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 base done. Again, nice thing about it being a kind of cyberpunky vibe. Just silver on there. I'm probably going to stick a wash on it at some point, but for the sake of the game. Like just a quick one-off game. It was ideal for that.
Very cool.
Nice.
Have we got anything else on the docket?
Have we got anything else for you? We got one more, I think.
Oh yeah, and I'll keep it simple. It was another one of the cyberpunky ones, but also another excuse to test out doing some kind of orc skin vibe. In my ongoing trying out various different ones. Although I did discover the slight foibles that come with any kind of contrast paint. It's ones I've experienced in the past. You mess up one bit, and then suddenly it's a whole process to try and get it back there, because you've got to do almost like another base paint, and then put the contrast on top, and then try and match everything back up.
There's a bit of... These contrasts are easier than other paints 90% of the time, but there's that 10% where it's just a nightmare.
It worked out in the end, but yeah.
That's why I'm always a fan of grimy models, because if you make a mistake, you just put grime, mud, dirt, or blood on it, and you just hide it.
Yeah, just slap some more bits to hide it on there.
Yeah, that's always been my methodology these days.
Yeah, just hide it all.
Yeah.
I miss painting Death Guard. And just...
Death Guard are very forgiving in that respect.
Yeah.
Just hide it all. Just hide it all under mud and grime and ooze.
Well, I think ironically the next one is one of my models, and it's the complete opposite of what I've just said. Because it is very clean.
Oh, I mean, it is very clean.
Very clean.
Yeah.
This is the... Hold on.
Yep.
Go on.
No, go on. See if you can guess it.
This is the War Master.
It is indeed. It is the War Master. It is also the largest plastic kit relative to its scale that you can possibly get. And it is... I mean, this Titan does not exist at 28mm scale. It's that big. And it is also... this model is the model that made me go, do you know what? I need to play Knights and Titans. Because painting this was so fun. Which, for someone who hates painting, is very surprising.
I do absolutely love just how well the plasma cannons contrast on that.
Yeah,
like,
they do look very nice.
It's the red and the yellow just makes them stand out even more next to it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a gamble. I just went with the colours and thought and hoped for the best, and it just worked. Oh,
it works very well. Like, yeah. I also love that on this one, on the War Master, how it just looks like, I don't know if you can cycle back, but yeah, like that top bit just looks like the top of a castle. Like,
yeah, it's, if you actually look like on the sides, there is actual proper gantries there and door hatches.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
So it's very much designed like you're supposed to walk around it.
Yeah,
that's it for scale against the Warhound.
So it both makes me go, that thing's huge in the context of the game, but also makes me remember just how small the Warhounds are.
Yeah.
Until you then see, like, okay, so what's a Warhound like in 28mm scale? And be like, oh no.
Yeah, well, so this Warhound at 8mm scale is roughly, I think, the same size as like an old box knot.
The best knot, you mean?
The worst knot.
Middlest knot.
And the War Master itself it's just slightly shorter, I think, than a 28mm scale knight. They are big.
Like that has big also don't talk to my son ever again vibes at this moment.
Yeah, it is impressive. But yeah, it is my pride of my Legions collection at the moment, and possibly my entire collection, because it just totally changed my opinion on what I enjoy painting.
It's the cleanness of the line down the middle, like that full like bifurcation of the color scheme. How is it that how is it that clean down the middle?
Masking tape and an airbrush.
I think it'd be masking tape and airbrush.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's all eyeballed. I didn't do anything clever with it. It was just done.
So, we feeling Howling Griffins?
No.
Just do it again, but in 4 quarters this time instead?
No. This is enough. The only reason these knights got such a complex scheme for me is because I know I won't paint that many of them over my gaming career. As the scale creeps down, you'll see my paint schemes get so much more simple.
Yeah.
To the point where I can paint like an entire tank company in Legion scale in about 2 hours, because it's that simple.
Got it down to a fine art now.
Yeah, whereas these things take a little bit longer, but I enjoy these ones, so I don't mind.
Just kind of take it bit by bit.
Yeah. The key really is just painting all those panels, or as many of them as possible, separately, and then glue them on afterwards. But it is also fully magnetised, those arms, all of the guns, I mean all of them, the ones on the carapace, the ones in the shoulders, the main ones, they're all magnetised, and the head is as well. And the waist.
Oh, nice.
This isn't... Is this the one that can be made... No, it's the Warlord that can be made into the Side Titan, can't it?
The Warlord becomes the Side Titan, yeah. This one, there is an alternate version of it, which is the Iconoclast, which is the combat-y one.
Which does have a slightly different head, if you wanted to use it as slightly different
I don't know if it has a different head or not, whether it has the same set of heads, because you get 3 heads with this kit.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. But it has 2 different main weapon arms. I mainly magnetised it because, one, it's posability, but also because, you know, whether GW releases new weapon mounts for it or not, you know, there could be that occasion where I'm like, do you know what, it'd be really cool if this thing just had massive missile launchers.
Or a giant chainsaw.
Yeah, so plan for the future.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, your statement about like posability when it comes to magnetization is one of the things I really like about magnetization. Like, it's just got like a little bit. You can just like tweak it just that little bit, just to be like, okay.
Yeah, it's great. It's great fun when you're playing it in game and you're like, right, all these guns are going to fire at these different things, and you just move the guns to point at those things. Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I like it. It's fun. But that's it, really. As I say, this is a bit of cheat. I painted this about 6-7 months ago.
You could have fooled the audience.
Maybe, unless anyone's actually looked at socials and saw it posted many months ago.
Very fair, yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think that's it, though, for Tanker Talk today.
I think that is, yeah.
Obviously, as we would always say in our Tanker Talk section, if you, the audience, have anything that you would like to share for our Tanker Talk, we get to look at our models all the time, and we'd always be down to seeing whatever else our community has been working on. Please, feel free to share them with us on our respective socials. We'll have details on those down below and at the end as well. I think now, should we move on to our main section, our discussion time for today?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Perfect. Right. See you over there.
See you there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our main topic of today, our discussion opportunity, the section that I'm calling for today, the Dream Kill Team. Trying to get a little bit of rhyming in there. But basically, the simple answer is I've asked you two, and I've done it myself, to come up with what you might propose to be your ideal new kill team. You need to think about what's going to be what faction they're going to be from, and what those faction rules are going to be. What kind of operatives are making up that team, what their ploys might look like, and what the equipment they're going to be running in that game might be. Key thing here, this is not an attempt to make all the rules in this session. whilst we enjoy games, we're not professional games designers, and we do not have time to get into the weeds of trying to figure out balance and all this kind of stuff. It's more of an opportunity for us to discuss some ideas around some kill teams, and probably for you to ask questions that I then need to answer, and how your ideas might translate into dream kill teams. And who knows, maybe in the future, we then sit down and figure out the rules around these teams and make the teams a reality, which would be very cool.
I definitely want to make mine.
I'll be honest, I was writing mine and I kind of went, oh, I think this might be cool. There's a thing. There's definitely an element to it with them.
Well, we're definitely not strangers to writing our own rules, so...
No, absolutely. Okay, then. So, shall we... I mean, in terms of the kind of the game of kill team, we're going to go through kind of each section. I think our first point is going to be kind of the intro of the team, and then a bit in terms of what is known as their faction rule. Jumping into it. The faction element is essentially the grouping that they sit within. So, for example, you've got teams like the Blades of Cain, who sit within Eldar. You've got teams like the Tempestus Aquilians that sit within the Imperial Guard. You've got the Goremongers that are part of Chaos and things like that. The faction is where that team then sits, but the faction rule is intended to be like a defining element of that team. If we were to think about it in terms of kind of 10th edition, it would be what would be their kind of the overall rule. I forget what the name is, like the faction kind of super rule element. Army rule, thank you. Yeah. So what would make up maybe that kind of army rule, and also rolling into it a bit of kind of like the detachment element. They kind of take those two ideas and mush them together. So, for example, Tempestus Aquilians, they've got a lot of abilities that are able to like drop down from the sky. They've got this whole system where you only put a few models on the board to begin with, and then the rest of the team gets to drop in afterwards over the course of the game. Night Lords, as a kill team, have a whole ability where they can hide in the shadows. Like if they're by a building, they're considered to be hiding in the shadows of that building, so you can't actually see where they are. Necrons get a whole element of their reanimation protocols. They get to stand up at the end of, they get to have like their kind of recovery phase and their, regeneration of lost wounds. And Astartes have a very simple on paper, complex in terms of the depth, with their ability to choose chapter tactics. You say, I'm going to be playing as this team, and these are the chapter tactics that I've chosen from. Does anybody want to go first, or would you like me to lead into this one with my idea of my faction and the kind of and the faction rules?
I'm open to whatever suits you.
Yeah, I'm happy for you to take the lead.
Cool. Okay. Here is my sales pitch, my initial bit. So we're just going to do faction rules to begin with, and we'll go into the other sections afterwards. My faction, to sell to you guys, as the new kill team, my dream kill team, is an Emperor's Children faction sitting within the Emperor's Children because they've come out recently, and another an element is also thinking about like, how would this fit into the bigger kind of game of 40k? So it is cultist themed Emperor's Children kill team known as the Choir of Slaanesh. As a faction rule, their big kind of overarching idea is they have the Songs of Pain and Pleasure. These provide a scaling buff based off of how many of your operatives are close to each other. So when they're close together, they essentially are singing these choirs in louder reverie, and it causes a debuff to the enemy as well as a buff to your guys when they are kind of close together. Stuff like they might make each enemy operative able to do less, whilst making you able to maybe move more was one of my ideas. Or the enemy doesn't get to reroll certain things, but you get the ability to reroll your weapons. So yeah, that was kind of my idea of it. This idea of these kind of trying to get the element of noise into a team, but without it just being, here's a team of noise marines. It's like filling that niche of, there isn't really Emperor's Children themed cultists at the moment, with their team kind of coming out, with their faction coming out properly in 10th edition. And I feel like this would fit, like, here's a fun and interesting kill team made up of these cultists, which aren't just the same as the other cultists, but also something that could then fit quite nicely into a 10th edition army. So yeah,
Cool.
that was my idea.
Joe, have you got one option or have you got multiple?
I've got a more serious option and then a slightly sillier option.
Do you want to do that? Because John's gone with one. You've got two. I've got three.
Oh, that's
I mean, I have more on the docket as well, but I've got like here is my one. So if we go, we can do a little round robin with this. Joe, would you like to go give us your one there?
okay. So
Wait, hang on. Is he going for his main
Sorry,
one or his silly one?
Yeah, let's go for the main one, and then we'll wheel back around to the silly ones afterwards.
okay. So the main one I was thinking of, inspired by that one Deathmark character in Twice Dead King.
Okay.
Yes, I can't remember his name, but yes, I know who you mean.
Can't remember the name.
No,
Terrible
I
at
don't remember
names, but yeah. Doing essentially a Necron team that is all Deathmark, and then sort of thinking army rule wise, something sort of adjacent to like XCOM squad site.
Okay.
That's
So,
what I'm familiar with.
yeah, I was going to say, explain for the class. I played XCOM and I can't remember the squad, right?
So essentially allowing operatives to like shoot through other operatives' line of sight. So if someone else has a shot on them, they'd be able to.
Okay, that's quite cool.
So it's like if one can see it, they can kind of like phase, like shoot through the wall and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that. That would be a terrifying rule in the game, because it would essentially mean all of your terrain. It means nothing to me. I like it though. I like it. It's funny. Before this, we were talking. Yeah, I asked the guys about like what teams they come up with. And Joe, you said that you were worried that your team might already exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But the one Necron team, one of the things they can take is like 2 death marks with them as well. But it's a completely different idea to what they like. They just get to take death marks. They don't have anything kind of really special about the death marks. So leaning into that idea of that kind of like they shoot based off of the others. You probably have to have like a penalty probably to hit on that one if we're going into the weeds of it. But I do like the idea. Jay, what was your serious one?
So my serious one, so to speak, is a similar
your main one.
Similar line to what Joe is going for, and I can't believe it's not been done, to be honest, because I think it's designed for it. The Assassinorum Execution Force.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just picturing like you have to take a number of assassins, but they must be from different temples, and maybe their rule is something along the lines of you pick one of the temples per round, and then that one gets a bonus for that round. You know, like the Vindicari temple gets activated, and they can snipe through walls or something. Go for is it the Eversaw, and then they just go nuts, so they have to charge the next thing closest to them, but they're probably going to kill it.
Yeah. So would it we'll get into the weeds of kind of like the people that are on the team, but as a thing, would it be made up of the actual assassins, or would you go with like a weaker version of them?
I would say it would be a small kill team. So I don't know what like what the number of custodies you could have in a kill team is.
As of right now, 0, because they don't exist in the game anymore. But at the time, you could get 4.
Yeah, so I would probably say 3 to 4. It'd be a very small kill team, but they would be hyper specialised and very, very nasty. Yeah, I think they would have to be. You want the power fantasy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, even if that means you can only bring even 2, but I would say probably 3 or 4.
And you could potentially as another element of that kind of faction you can take like a couple of the assassins and then just like guard or like other auxiliary forces, because they do have some teams which are like a mix of like the Inquisition team is you get your Inquisitor and your bunch of specialists, but then you also can pick from some of the other factions to make like a little team out of them. Just from a balance perspective, but also what I also love is with Kill Team, you often get boxes that are designed around like a particular theme. So, the Goremongers, which are one of the recent ones, came from a box called Blood and Zeal, which is you've got Goremongers fighting Sanctifiers. You two have just created the perfect little sniper-off team. Two sets of assassins that are going at each other. Just perfectly set up for it. So I very much enjoyed that. Cycling back around, we have some other options. As I said, I have my main one. I will outline just another of my second option. Actually, I got two secondary options on this one, but I keep them very short. First one, Eyes of the Emperor. Your retired custodians going round. So again, bringing custodians back, but they're not at their peak prime, so you don't have to deal with the fact that they're absolutely busted in that game. And, they're kind of like a little bit more worn, a little bit more weathered. And the other one is a very broad idea, but I feel like would sell quite well in the sense of it would get something that people have been asking for. It's just the Tau Auxiliary team. It's just made up of, like, a whole load of different Tau allied races, and they're just all mixed into there.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So, Joe, what was your other fun option?
My other fun option, just a knight.
Okay. So, that is hilarious. That's even funnier for me because the person I usually play Kill Team with, I had this conversation with them, and I was like, I'm just trying to come up with some ideas that I could run with. And the first thing he went, a knight, just one knight, just the Kill Team. I mean, I feel like even just a single armiger would be enough to be a single, like, just an armiger. But I just the idea would be like, just take one knight. That's your entire Kill Team. Done.
Yeah.
It would make objective control a little bit difficult, and I think we'd have to do. You definitely have to do some interesting things with terrain, but yeah, it would be funny. Jen.
So one of my options is actually on a very similar line, which would be the Knight Scions as a Kill Team. So dismounted knights.
Mm-hmm.
Which might be quite cool, especially as we've seen them in animations and stuff with their cool sort of techno armor knight suits, which I just think looks cool.
Yeah.
The other one though is it's taking the idea of the assassins and taking it to the extreme. Because I was thinking about, obviously we got Night Lords. Well, obviously I love Alpha Legion, so an Alpha Legion Kill Team. But what if we went even further? What if we had the first and probably only Primarch team, as in Alpharis and Omegon? Because I feel like they would be perfect for a Kill Team. Because they're not like the big, overpowered Primarchs. They're the small, subtle Primarchs. So they would almost kind of work. But you only ever get the two.
They're not the big, overpowered Primarchs, but they are still Primarchs.
They are still Primarchs. But let's be fair. If it was going to work, it would be them. I'm not saying it would work, but it would be cool.
I just love the idea of the kind of the conversation that's happening, being like, what team have you brought? I'd be like, I've got my team of this, this rabble of cultists that have rocked up, or I've got a single squad of guardsmen. What have you got? 2 Primarchs. Not just one, but 2 Primarchs for you.
I mean, maybe it's more suited to like a PvE. They are like super boss fights or something. But...
I was going to say, in all fairness, they have actually been the latest version of Kill Team does have a whole PvE, and this latest box of the Tyranids versus the Admech did come with extra Tyranid models specifically so you can do more PvE games.
Yeah, well, I'm also aware that there is the Kill Team with the Patriarch in it, which is the sort of super monster of that faction. Granted, obviously, there's a significant scale difference in terms of power level, but you kind of get the idea.
Patriarch to Primarch is like they're not quite the same level, but
Hey, I could have gone worse. I could have just done Jared's at Canis Rax.
At some point, you're just playing, was it Adeptus Titanicus, but on a weird scale.
My War Master.
Yeah, just why not a Titan kill team? You know, just you don't even get the full Titan. You just get a foot
No.
one of the guns.
You get the full Titan, but the Titan is your army and the board.
That would be a sick game. Like on the back of a Titan, that would be an insane game.
Yeah.
You're fighting the board. That'd be a very specialist version of that game, I could imagine. But yeah. Okay then. So we've nailed down, I think, some ideas for the factions we would like to see, and maybe some of the factions that would be very silly to see. But I do enjoy the silliness with the factions. Obviously, then the next stage after you've kind of decided where they're going to be is then probably the most crucial part of the team, and that's the team themselves. The operatives that make up your team that you're going to be running. When it comes to Kill Team, generally speaking, they've got a bit of a format now to it, where you have a leader model. Some factions have a couple of leaders. They either have like options of leaders, or they might have like 2 things that they have to take as their leader models. As well as then a set of specialists, of which you can only ever take one of them, again with the asterisks of some caveats that exist, and then a generic troop kind of option. Something that's going to be, this is your kind of your standard troop that you're going to be seeing, potentially lots of. Some kind of specialists that you might see in your teams, usually there'll be some kind of like heavy gunner or heavy weapons specialist that will pop up into the team. You've also got medics that exist, psychers, comms officers. You know, you might have ones that maybe do like kind of more of a sneaky action, stuff like that. Going back to my idea of this choir of Slaanesh, I've got my list of operatives that I would see in this team. So the first one, and my leader model, is our choir master. His kind of their role on the board is whilst they're on the board, they get to choose a different song each time they at the start of each round. So whilst you want to keep them alive because they let you have that flexibility, but you also need to think about potentially using them, like having a kind of they probably have something that means they're useful in the front. You don't just want to hide them at the back, but you want to keep them alive throughout the game so that they have this kind of flexibility to them. The next one was a specialist. I was going to refer to them as an orator, which is their as a model. I've got kind of like the mental image of what they look like. Have you seen? I think it's the model from the Dark Commune. There's like a guy who's basically got like a book strapped to his back and a speaker for a face.
Yes.
It's like, imagine that, but taken to an extreme where it's just got like all these speakers kind of blaring in various directions. It is entirely based off of the name of this model. The idea of the name of this operative was based off the fact that I read. I was like, oh, what's kind of names for people who kind of like have like a speaker role? And it was like orator, a public speaker. So he's literally a public speaker system going around. Boosts the songs kind of in the area. Like whilst he's there, like the range that can the kind of song system can affect goes a bit wider. I get the idea of a pain minister going into our Slaanesh models and our Emperor Children models. There's always got to be a guy with a whip wielding operative, can like use melee at range, but can also whip your own guys and make them go forward. Getting them a little bit of speed. Obviously a gunner, but we'd go with, you got your plasma, your melter, and then like a noise cannon. So taking that kind of idea, like noise marines, but they then got like a cannon version, like a small scale version of it, like a cultist size version. What I was calling a seductor, which basically you make a check against the enemy, like against their save, and if they fail, you can make them perform an action. You basically get like a little opportunity to kind of take them over briefly. And then the
French Crusades priest.
Yes, yes, very much that kind of idea. Yeah, you get to do one action with them, and it could be to make them move into an advantageous point for you, or maybe make them shoot one of their own guys and stuff like that. And then the general troop. The thing that's going to kind of make up the general are the choristers, and they're going to be equipped with either a pistol and a melee weapon, or maybe they'll have 2 melee weapons. That's kind of like the option of how you build them. What my idea kind of for them is you'd want to run them out the front, because if they're wounded, which is kind of a key term in Kill Team, which is they've taken any wounds, you become wounded. That gives them a small boost to the song. But as soon as you drop below half health on a model, they become injured, which gives them usually worse stats. But for them, they still get the worst stats. So it makes them move a bit slower, and it makes them hit a bit less reliably, because you go to -1 on the hit. But it causes them to basically get an even bigger boost to the song system. However that ended up kind of playing out. So you almost want to have, if you have lots of these troops, you want to throw them at the front, because as they get injured, they actually make the others get better. Kind of this idea of this cannon fodder kind of element going forward. Your specialists hang back, and then as they get injured and they go down, if you haven't killed them, you left them alive, but you're well, they've got no wounds left. How bad could they be? As soon as somebody else kind of gets a bit close to them, they get this nice big boost to their song process, or their kind of this buff process, because they're in this injured state. That would be my some of the operatives. Obviously, there'd be potentially kind of more in there. Joe, what would be yours for your team?
So I think leader-wise, I think it would be a good opportunity to have a life cycle model. I did Google the name.
I like either named or like a fee, like a leader Deathmark model. I like it.
Yeah, I think that would be. I think to sort of balance out the squad side type thing, that leader model is essential for that room to go off. It's like a coordinator.
Yeah.
A coordinated leader. To sort of come into the idea of that sort of thing of him being king of Deathmarks, self-proclaimed. Yeah. And then sort of, how many are usually within a kill team?
So generally speaking, with operatives, if it depends on kind of how powerful they are. If it's a Marine style team, you're looking at about 6 operatives. If you're looking kind of your Necron, that kind of, my Goremonger cultists running teams of 8. There are some which go up to teams, I think, of 12 or stuff like that. So you've got kind of somewhere between 6 is your absolute, what we consider your elite teams. 12 are where you're going to get your spot kind of, general troops running at the front line kind of vibe.
Yeah. So I think probably a couple of generic sort of Deathmark. Just do what Deathmark do. And then I think troops-wise, possibly Scarabs.
Okay, so almost kind of when you've got your general in kill team, your general troop in kill team, there's one that you can take lots of. So kind of that'd be a really interesting one, because rather than having lots of Deathmarks, you've then got these maybe Scarab or Scarab constructs.
Yeah, and that would work too. You can do the squad sight through them. They are more mobile, so it's the idea being you'd park your Deathmark somewhere and then have the Scarabs move for them.
Gotcha. Okay, that'd be really cool. So they kind of
it's a relatively sort of squishy unit that if you take out, you limit that. Let's see.
And I could see from thinking about kind of a balance element to it. They have to be, so there's orders in kill team, and you've got the engage and conceal order, which is whether they're hiding or whether they're actively engaging to be shot to shoot. And I imagine that you'd have to have those Scarabs kind of on engage to use them for that squad sight kind of element. That'd be really cool. But almost kind of you just got your sniper your sniper team at the back. With your Deathmarks, and then they just start pinging shots off of these off the little Scarabs. Appreciate it's probably going to be a reference that I don't think either of you two will have seen. Either of you watch Bad Batch?
Yes.
Okay. The sniper where he's got the I can't remember the character's name, but he puts the little reflective bits on the
crosshair.
Yes.
But I'm imagining that's how it's working with the Scarabs. They're chaining the shots off of them.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
That would be very cool. Just kind of like ding 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 ding, going around. Yeah, I could see that.
I'm also a little bit insulted that you don't think I've watched everything Star Wars related.
I feel like it could go either way.
I'm quite literally at the moment playing the Old Republic MMO.
Okay, well, I will stand corrected then.
And watching Andor.
I still need to see the current season of it.
I've only just started watching it. I'm just at the end of season 1.
Excellent. So we got kind of like our actual. Whilst it is a death mark team, there's less death marks in there than there are scarabs that are kind of going round. Just I would possibly just say as some kind of suggestions around this, you could have kind of more specialists. You could have like each death mark be its own special thing as well. If you wanted to make them, like this one does something like a little bit different compared to the others, or they have like some different weapons. But I kind of like the idea actually of it being a bit more like generic. In the sense of you get your leader, you get a couple of death marks to kind of go with it, and then maybe like the scarabs are like the interesting specialist element. Like you've got like, if you take this set of scarabs, they can do this with like the reflection element. If you take these ones, they can do that.
It does kind of appeal, the idea of having alternate options for death marks, because the entire squad snipers in Necrons feels a bit odd.
Yeah.
When you play it. So the idea that actually using Kill Team as a vector to actually make them more of like a Necron equivalent to an assassination team that's not just focused on sniping would actually be really quite cool. Having like a melee specialist death mark trooper or something. Someone who's more focused around blowing shit up. It would make them feel a bit more fleshed out, because in Necrons now you've obviously got the mainline Necron forces, you've got the constructs, you've got the destroyer cults. They're all very well fleshed out. The death marks feel a bit odd. They kind of feel out of place because of the way they kind of almost presented as like, obviously in the animation, Pariah Nexus, or whatever it's called, Pariah, it's shown as like a solo operative. Makes sense. But in game, they're units. And it feels odd.
It feels almost like they should be more of a Lictor type unit.
And as we've seen with the Tyranid one recently, they actually took that Ravener unit and said, actually, Raveners can have all these specialist mutations. Why can't we do the same with something like the Death Mark? It would make it a much more interesting unit, both in Kill Team and 40k as well.
I'm picturing like you could do like my immediate thought was like a jeweler kind of vibe death mark. So like they got their pistols, they can go in a little bit kind of closer range. One that has like a kind of a blade element to it. Basically, it's an Assassinorum team, isn't it? Like but more death marky vibe.
And you could still have the whole Scarab idea, because you could actually just say like the traditional death mark is paired with a Scarab or a unit of Scarabs, and he uses them as his hunter seeker pack dogs almost. They flush the target out and then he snipes them.
Yeah, that'd be a cool team.
I like
this. Very cool team.
I love the sound of it. I might kit bash one.
It's funny actually, because you could do what they've done with the with that new Raveners, because essentially you can go. But if you build the kill team, I think that can lead. Like the kill team can lead a squad of Raveners now. So it's like rather than being a single HQ like a leader model, it's like a leader team. Yeah,
a bit like the Acadian command squads.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I hope they would do with the command squad for Marines. Like you can take a command squad and then you can put that command squad in charge of another faction, in charge of another unit, rather than what it is where it's like you can put a model in that unit, but then it can't go kind of anywhere else. Cool. Jay.
Well, I mean, mine's pretty much prescribed for me, isn't it? Because we literally just take the temples of the assassins and those who are operatives. I would say, though, this would be a very, very good opportunity to roll in some of the heresy era temples that are given light in 40k. So we got the Adamus and the Venenum.
It's like the one that specializes in like poisons, isn't it?
Yeah. So you got I'm not 100% sure on what the Adamus does, but yeah, the Venenum or Venenum or however it's pronounced is definitely the poison master. But yeah, so the operatives are pretty much self-prescribed really, and you kind of just take the lore around them and apply that into the game. I don't really need to do a whole lot of work here. It's kind of done for me.
It is kind of very much done. They're I just had to very, very, very quickly look it up. Your Adamus ones, they're very similar to Eversaws, but they're more like they're ninjas, from what I can tell. They're like sword masters.
The model looks very much like a traditional ninja.
I'm just gonna say, if you take like the model, if you took that model and just painted it up in red and black, it would just be a Deadpool model, wouldn't it? So you're basically like, yeah, your team is as you said, like prescribed for you. Of like you would take those four specialists, and then
3 to 4, but have probably the 6 temples as options, and I'd probably treat them more like each one of them is essentially the equivalent probably of a character in terms of power level in kill team. So they would be quite tough, quite capable, but you'll only have 3 or 4 of them, so you're going to be limited on ground control and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if like as a way of like almost expanding out those operative lists, whether there is like something almost like assassin in training kind of vibe to it as well.
Could do it. I mean, personally, I just think this is not a kill team built around balance. It's just I just want to have fun and I want to wreck some stuff with some assassins.
I mean, that is true. And actually, it's funny because I think every edition of Kill Team, well, actually, there's only been 3, and I think one of them you could take assassins in there. But the other, like this latest one and the previous edition, I think there was multiple homebrew teams that people wrote up to do assassins because that's what people want. People want an assassin kill team. So yeah. I think it's just.
I think this one just needs to be the fun one. You don't get bogged down in making it particularly fair. You're not worried about mixing and matching them. Just say, look, I'm going to take these guys. It's going to be fun. I don't care if I lose, as long as I kill a lot of stuff.
I think they could definitely one like almost that you do as a you can't take these to a tournament, but you can take them as a kill team kind of vibe.
I definitely think that's how I would want them. I don't because the moment you start trying to balance them, they become not the fantasy. You lose that fantasy, and I'd rather have the fantasy and only play it in casual games than have a kill team that's technically legal to play in tournaments. When I'm never going to play in a tournament, I just want to have the power fantasy of running around with a vindicator killing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. As a team, I think saying about bringing in like the heresy stuff, as some additional temples. I reckon you could go more. Like, start thinking about some like the other temples, like or temples that haven't been mentioned before. Like, expand out those lists of temples. The Kingmaker book has another one of the temples. I can't remember what they refer to it as, but it's basically like the tech hacking temple. So they have like a almost like a crossover between like AdMech. It's like an AdMech assassin basically. Their whole thing is they've got like the ability to like interface with machines and things like this, and they've got very much almost like the bit in Ghost in the Shell where like the fingers expand and they've got all the like little bits for tapping on the keyboard. It's that kind of idea. Like their hand is just like itself a weapon because it's so like mechanically augmented. You can have a really kind of you can have a very fun time just expanding out with loads of different temples into that team. Just add a bit more flesh to that kind of that faction, and it would work really nicely for your agents in the Imperium because in the wider scope of it, you just be able to fit in all of these different potentially the characters, or you could be like, no, here's your team of assassins that you can now take in
it would give the 40k agents faction an extra tool in their very limited range. I could also imagine the box set just being this plethora of amazing kit bashing bits to make these unique assassins. I mean the actual position box for Kill Team, amazing kit. I really want one. Just to play around kit bashing stuff. I don't even want to play that team in Kill Team. I just want the bits. And I can imagine this kind of kit would be the same. Just
like the idea of doing because they've got similar ideas, and it's like almost like the body is kind of like the same, but it's just like the weapons and bits like that come out end up being a bit different. You could do like it's the assassin's box, and it's like okay, if you put like this head, this arm on, now it's your Calidus assassin. You put this one on, you get your Vindicator assassin. Like
so many posing options and stuff like that. It'd just be a glorious kit.
I feel like the problem would be that is a kit that kills every other character for an assassin that they are selling, because it's like, why would I spend like 25 quid on a single Vindicare when I could buy this box and get like 5 different Vindicares?
Yeah, but let's be honest. They would take all of those down. They would put this one kit up for probably a ridiculous price, but you probably sell more of them.
Yeah.
You get 100%.
Because
You would.
More people would buy them
because it's a cool kit.
It's a cool kit.
I mean, I wouldn't buy any of the assassins that they currently have, but if they gave me a plastic box of assassin bits, basically, I'd buy it tomorrow, and I don't even have any plans to play it.
It's just fun models to have.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I think we've got our operative ideas for our main team. Is there any additional operatives that people have thought about for their other factions, or do you want to move on to our next section?
I mean, I can't do anything with Alvarez Omegon, so.
Yeah, your one knight is just as I said, I feel like an armiger is about the only right level you can get to, and I mean, you'd have loadout options for an armiger, but yeah, it's just going to be an armiger.
I feel like the armiger idea is not any really that worse than the Primarch. They're just the boss fights for like a multiplayer PvE game.
At that stage, then you've just got if you don't take a melter gun, you're just not going to win that game.
In terms of the Knight Scions idea, I haven't given it much thought. I just like the aesthetic, and I like knights. The
aesthetic would be cool. The kind of the idea around that. Another faction that I had was floating around the idea when I was thinking about kill teams was just the Dark Eldar Beastmasters, having your single Beastmaster and then the beasts that follow them. The only thing I want to say there was the idea, the operative would obviously be the beast, you have your leader as your Beastmaster. And I will double check which codex this was specifically mentioned in. It was mentioned in the 5th edition codex. List of beasts, so you've got your Barg, Hesse, your Clawed Fiend, Hellspider, Chimera, Megasaur, Razorwing. But this is the quote: occasionally though, rare beasts will be captured, such as a Space Marine. Just here's my Beastmaster and their Space Marine pet.
Do you know what? That's just given me another wacky idea.
Go on.
Fabius Bile's mutated creations.
Creations of Bile would be another amazing team.
You can't take Fabius. You just take the things he makes.
Yeah.
Basically, Kit Bash's dream. Just go wild.
Well, it would be you could have your random rolls at the beginning. The faction rule of that one would be random roll to see what the mutations are for that day.
Yeah, and that would just be a Kit Bash's dream, because you just magnetise the living daylights out of these models. So whatever you roll, you just okay, he's got a gun arm today and a power fist on his foot.
Yeah, maybe they even make them with hot swap parts so that they don't even need magnets. They're just designed to just pop together and slide apart.
I'm not imagining that would be a kit. This would be going back old GW style, where they would just say, here's the rules, Kit Bash.
Which they would not do now.
They won't do it now. Yeah. This is a dream for the bygone days of old.
The bygone days of old. Well, thank you two for your ideas around the operatives for your respective teams. I feel like you had a bit of a not an easy time with the operatives, but it was definitely these are what the operatives are going to be, which it's a very interesting one from your perspective.
Mine wasn't easy, in fairness.
But it's interesting from obviously I played a lot of Kill Team, so I kind of have got used to what they look like. Whereas because you two haven't, you're this is how I'd want to build a Kill Team. It's a different view on it, which is always interesting. So we're going to go a little bit further into the weeds now, onto our next section, and talk about the ploys of the kill teams. Now, for this one, this very much kind of gets into one of the kind of the core rules elements of kill team. This is the same as your command points, your strategic, your ploys that you would be playing in a game. The difference of kill team is the ploys are divided into 2 sections. So you have what's known as your strategic ploys, and this is essentially you pay a command point cost, and for this round, this thing is in effect. So it's a round-based ability that kicks in. Then there is the firefight ploys, which is more of a reactionary thing. This thing happens, and I will spend a point in order to get that, in order to get a buff in some way, or to have a reaction in some way.
Kind of like passive or an active, if you're talking a video game terminology.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they both use the same resource, they both use those command points, but they might have ones that have an effect across an entire round. So, for example, the Space Marines one, probably one of the easiest teams to learn with, they have a strategic ploy which basically lets them change one of their chapter tactics for that round. So for the entire round, whatever their chapter tactic was, they can choose one of the two and swap it out for a different one. Then they've got a individual one as a firefight ploy instead. And that one is called Shock Assault, which basically makes them slightly better at melee. It gives their weapons for that one fight, they get a slight buff to their combat. As I said, one's very active, one's a bit more passive. Your firefights are usually more punchy because they are you get to do this one thing at this one time, and your strategic ploys are a bit more kind of like, oh, for this round they're going to have an impact. I say it that way. As Stephen E, who I've been most playing recently, the Goremongers, they have one that is labelled as a strategic ploy, but my god, it really should not be a strategic ploy, because their ability is, for the entire round, every single time they fight, whether they are fighting somebody or somebody is fighting them, whatever the first bit of damage that comes in, just take it in half. Just take whatever that damage is, divide it in half, round up, that's how much damage they actually take. So it'd be like, I've killed you. Have you though? Have you though? So that one's pretty good for them. In terms of what I came up with for my Choir of Slanesh team, I have my strat, and I probably say for this, unless people have lots of them, or we've just kind of discussed some ideas around them, I've got one for a strat ploy and one for a firefight. So my strat ploy, strategic ploy for this, I've labelled as Enticing Song. What this is you choose one of the objective markers on the field, and all models that are within a distance, I'd say like 6 inches, have to move closer to that objective if they are moving on their turn. So if they take any actions that means they move, they have to move, or they have to end their turn closer to that objective. So you're essentially, it means that you draw your people into that central objective, but it also draws the enemy into that central objective. You're trying to get them closer into that position, so you can potentially use it as a bit of like an advantageous. You whilst you are impacting their movement, and Kill Team is very much a movement game. Like, even the finest difference of movement has a big impact. It's like, we're both suffering, and we're both getting a penalty in this, but I'm choosing when that penalty kicks in for me. The firefight one, the idea I said was something like vicious riposte, going to that kind of idea about that bladesman kind of element, the finesse that comes with Slanesh. In the fight sequence, and essentially a fight sequence is both players roll dice, and then you take it back and forth to either go, I'm going to deal damage to you, or I'm going to block one of your attacks in the sequence. I said in the first attack in any of the sequences, if it is a block, you can inflict a D3 damage. So you essentially say at the start of the fight, I'm going to use, I declare a block, and then I spend my CP for that vicious riposte, and that then means I can inflict an additional D3 damage onto you. Similarly, if they turn around and said, I'm going to block you, you can then go, yes, but I'm going to spend this, and then I can deal an additional D3 damage. And much like ploys in 40k, you can only do this once, so it's not like I could go, I'm going to save up a load and just do stacking damage against them. I can only ever do it once in the entire of that turn. So it kind of becomes a bit of a one and done element to it. But it's that little bit of just I get a little bit of damage potentially off on you, and that might make the difference in the long run. So those are my two ideas. Joe, should we go with you first? I appreciate that we're getting into the weeds of the rules a little bit here, but what have you come up with in terms of your ploy ideas?
So strategic ploy, I'm not sure if it potentially works as one or would be viable, but the idea that I had the idea that you could forego a movement action on one of the Deathmark operatives to give it to one of the Scarabs, do a double move.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so essentially, I'd probably say, would that one be a strat ploy? Because, so, a strat ploy would be something that kind of lasts out for the entire round, so it'd be a bit essentially saying, for every Deathmark operative that does not move, your Scarab can essentially take a double move action.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would work as a rule that is written, in that regard. Whether how that would then potentially translate into the game, that would make your Scarabs really, really quick, because there is like intended to be like to a certain degree like a little bit of a limit in terms of how far you can move. That would make them absolute rockets. I say it's intended as a means of limiting their movement. The Sanctifier's kill team, which is one that has, again, came out with the Blood and Zeal pack, and I had the misfortune of playing against them, has a thing where when their leader model moves, everybody else moves again. Even if they've already moved, so you wait until the end, you move him, and then everybody else moves again. So you're like, so if they can all move again, it like essentially ups their movement to basically the board. They just can get from one end of the board to the other. I was like, I was playing the team where they cut their legs off to make them more mechanical, to make them faster, and this person just seemingly rev them up enough where rev them up in religious fury enough that they can run across the entire board quicker than I can. So it's not an unprecedented thing to be able to have to have that kind of movement. And it leans in quite nicely, this idea of like a give and take kind of element to it. So that's me your kind of like your idea around maybe that kind of like strategic one, the one that lasts for a round, and it is for like that kind of reactionary one.
Yeah, the sort of firefight one, essentially a fairly boring one. You take no penalty for the squad side on one operative.
I think that would be just a fair, like, you pay that cost, that thing happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could just throw an idea out there for your ones as well. I feel like another very easy one would be the translocation element.
Yeah.
They just kind of like, as a firefight, as that kind of firefight thing, because it's it's a bit more kind of like a one-off active ability. They pay that and they just go boop, boop, and just teleport somewhere else around the field. They would be a very mobile team. I'm realizing it's building up to be this very, very weirdly fast for a Necron team.
Yeah.
I mean, Necrons are deceptively fast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, and they would be deceptively fast.
Yeah, they're quite often considered to be the slow-moving army, but actually they're very fast. Just generally.
It's when you're least expecting it, they're going to start moving. Jay, what are your thoughts?
So in terms of strategic, I'm not quite sure. I was thinking along the lines of something like a high priority target. So your opponent picks a model from their side, and your goal, you basically get bonuses to take that target out. Obviously, it kind of balances itself out in the sense that you got to choose when it's worth activating that, because you'll only activate when you think there's a chance you can get to every one of the opponent's operatives. And then the opponent also has the option to I'll just make the target the hardest one for you to kill. In terms of the reactionary ones, I think a themed one for each operative would be quite cool. I will say one which I think is nice and obvious, and I kind of said it earlier. A Vindicari one, literally just ignore terrain, it can shoot through it. Just a one-off, I load a special round, bang, straight through the walls.
And just punch straight through, yeah.
There's all, you could basically do that for all of them, I would imagine.
I think the your Eversaw one could be a when this operative dies, you can spend the CP and it explodes.
Yeah.
It's just like again, like usually within Kill Team, or at least how they've done it now, is it's 4 strat ploys and 4 firefight ploys. I feel like potentially with yours, you'd almost need it's 4, but it's 4 that have if you target it on for your firefights, it's if you target it on this operative, it does this. If you target it on this operative, it does this. If you don't target it on this operative, so it kind of or it could be the things of this is the main body of text in terms of what it does. But if you are targeting the specialists associated with this, it gets this nice little bonus to it as well. Yeah, I could definitely see that as like as a fun, like it fits very well with with the 4 temple kind of approach. As soon as you start to kind of pull in more temples, it gets a little bit more mixed up in it all. As I said, the poise kind of element are very much like to a certain degree the weeds of it. It's where you start to get into like the real kind of rules heavy side of it. So moving on from there into what I think is quite a fun bit of it, the equipment. So equipment in Kill Team has been actually massively simplified in the new edition. There's got like a universal set of equipment, so there'll be things like additional cover and things like that you can take, which is set and essentially given to everybody. It's like grenades and things like that. That's all put over to one side. What they now have is they have faction-specific equipment which you can choose from as well. So, speaking from the Goremonger's perspective, the ones that I've been playing a lot of, they have access to a bloody cadaver that they can carry around with them that they can use to get blood from, or they can set up a gory trophy, which essentially impacts it gives a negative impact onto the enemy. The Marines, the referred to as the Angels of Death team, they get access to purity seals, which they can use for like a free reroll, or tilting shields, which makes it so that they get additional blocks in when it comes to their fighting. They're better at like blocking attacks. For equipment for my choir group, the Slanesh choir, my first one was the idea of like a loudspeaker. Basically, it's a piece of equipment you put down, and it counts as one extra model when they collect around it. So it's not a thing that the enemy can remove, but it's also not something that can move around. So you put it down, and if you then get other people around it, it counts towards that kind of total element of those models being kind of bunched around. And the other one, which again we're going down this idea of we've got to get a little bit of Slanesh element to it as well. Some kind of drugs element. I hadn't quite decided on this one, but I feel like it would be an equipment which you take, and then it's got like a table of random rolls. So like you go, okay, we've taken these. What did they do to us today? And you just roll on the table, and that's the ability that they get for the day. I feel like random rolls are something that's always going to be fun. Terrible for tournament purposes, but hilarious if they, in a narrative game. So yeah, so those would be my potential two. There would also be more in a bigger team, but that'd be the kind of like the element I'd go with. Joe, should we jump across to you for kind of ideas of what equipment might be taken in your group?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little stumped as to terms of equipment.
Necrons are hard because they typically don't have that kind of thing.
Are the equipment.
Yeah.
It is a more difficult one to do. I will give you that.
Yeah.
But I think if it helps, I think there are some cool things you could lean into, like specialist scarab types, so like blood scarabs that are designed to literally just jump on things, cause a little bit of bloody mayhem, and that kind of attracts in flayed ones. So you could have some kind of weird mechanic where
if we're going down this kind of like this scarab idea, you could have almost like they're set up like basically like mines, like a selection of different mine options that you could lay around the field. So you can have like like you said, like the blood scarabs, but also like mine shackle scarabs. So when they step on them, it like latches onto the back, and you get that idea of like you get to maybe like control them, or they just shut down for that next until the next turn. Once they activate it, if they fail a save, they're then stuck in that place.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of scope as well to just come up with all sorts of wacky things and just say it's a scarab that does this.
and actually that would make some really fun little like token opportunities, because you could do like little tokens to sit that because the default game you play with cardboard tokens, but lots of people build their own token versions of stuff, and you can have like little tokens that are just like half buried scarabs underneath that get set up, and then when somebody when they get near it, scarabs pop out and cause those impacts onto people.
Like that spider that buries itself.
Very much that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, so like scarab mines, I think that's a good idea.
Scarab mines would be cool. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And there's already rules for a minefield, so you could basically take those and just be like, rather than it doing damage, it does this. It does scarab stuff, and you could then wheel out from there. Cool. Jay, what about you? Any ideas?
I've got one idea. Which is, again, I'm going to go along the lines of, I think these need to be like almost linked to the clades or the temples. So I'm thinking like a Calidus one could be DNA samples from your opponent. So you've got a DNA sample of your opponent. She can shapeshift into an opponent during the round, or during a round, and pilfer one of their abilities.
Nice. Yep.
Nice.
So maybe it's maybe it's equipment. So they whatever I don't know. Say your Emperor's Children one. This Calidus gets a gene sample for some Emperor's Children, shapeshift into an Emperor's Children-esque character, and says, "Oh, pass me your drugs," and then I get to use your equipment for the turn.
And it could just be something as simple as like I really love that idea of just they've got like it's was it polymorphine? That's the chemical. Like polymorphine is a piece of equipment, and be like you just get to become one of the opponent's operatives for a turn.
Yeah, anything like that.
Like that would be so cool. I do enjoy the wild swings that again this gets based off of the team you're fighting, because it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna become this cultist, or oh, I'm gonna become a patriarch. And it's just like it's weirdly both ends of that spectrum that it could potentially be.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of that assassin team. You pick the assassins that are going to be most beneficial. Or if you don't get to pick beforehand, you're kind of stuck with what you got.
Yeah, that would be very, very cool. Very, 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 very thematic actually. And you could do like specialist bullets for your Vindicare.
I was thinking like some kind of pheromone grenade or something for the Eversaw. You chuck it at it and it just goes mad.
Like you take that bit of equipment on somebody else, and when they get hit, it's like it doesn't do any damage, but the second that Eversaw gets to you, you're gonna have a real bad time. I'm just trying to think of like what you could, like the Calexus would be. I guess maybe like the psych out grenades, but I feel like that would probably be something that it would have inherently because that's one of the things. You're then relying on things keying off of the psychic keyword, which comes up more than it does in other areas, but is depressingly few things that have psychic.
Yeah, but then there'll be some teams where it's just absolutely overpowered.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you pick the right assassins for the right job, don't you? Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be very, very cool. Yeah, I think we got some ideas for some teams there.
Some quite good ideas.
I think we've got and some very nice and varied ones as well. I think what we'll do is if we're all happy with that, I think we'll head to the round table and wrap everything up.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Hello and welcome back to the round table, our opportunity to kind of wrap up everything from today and get some closing thoughts from everyone. We've had a good opportunity today to kind of talk through, muddle our way through a little bit in terms of Kill Team from a perspective of somebody who's played it a lot, somebody who's played it a little bit, and somebody who's never played it at all. But it means that you've got a completely different perspective on where Kill Team's coming from, and hopefully this might inspire some chances to have a kind of a go at it. So what I'd just like to get from everybody is a thought of, would you buy the Kill Teams that any of the Kill Teams that we've spoken about today, and as you're not currently playing it, would that be enough to sway you into playing Kill Team? Joe, should we go with you?
Yeah. I definitely would get the Assassin box. It's a very cool concept in general. I don't know why I don't own any of the Assassins. Probably because they cost too much on their own.
The only one I have is the one I got from my Warhammer Plus subscription.
Yeah, they are very expensive on their own. But if they came in a nice box that you could just go, they're ready to go, and with lots of modular options, I could definitely see that. Jay, what about you for ideas?
Well, I mean, obviously I would buy the Assassin's box. That's just a no-brainer. But honestly, the idea of the Necron one, especially the idea that we floated about the having more specialists in a death mark box, would very much interest me. I'd love to see what you could kind of come up with. Almost essentially, basically, an assassin or for the Necrons just sounds really cool. So for me, if I had to pick between the two, I probably would buy the assassin one, but I would probably also buy the Necron one.
Is the case you buy the assassin one, but you'd be interested in playing as well the Necron one. I think it would be. I'd say like the way that kind of like that Necron one has formed. I think it'd definitely be one that I'd be picking up to play as well. I do quite like my my little collection of cultists.
It's a great idea. I love it, but there's just something about Necron assassins which sound cool.
Yeah. I've tried to go with this would be a relatively balanced kill team. You're like, what if it was a really fun set of Necrons? I'm like, I can't compete with that.
Your idea is like the most likely to happen. Ours are just we're just having fun.
Yeah, you're having way more fun. I clearly thought about it far too seriously. Maybe we watch this space and I'll get the two of you onto kill team.
If you let me write some rules for assassins or Necron Deathmark teams, then definitely.
I mean, as an excuse to get more people playing the game, I think I could probably manage that. We just have to have a little bit of a vetting process, in terms of when I look at the stat card and I go, "Oh, this could shoot down a knight," and we're not playing a game with knights involved. Possibly more.
I mean, in fairness, you've seen my custom rules. I try to make them balanced.
You do. Yes, that is very fair. We've got our ideas for kill team, but I'll put it to the community. What would you like to see as potential kind of kill teams? What kind of ideas would you float? How would you potentially like to see them added into the game? What kind of things would you maybe like to see arrive in terms of kill team? And if maybe any of this has inspired you to go and give the game a look if you haven't already. The things to kind of sign off with is our various social medias. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch again soon? ?
It is coming back very soon.
So watch that space.
Well, in theory, by the time this goes out, it should already be back.
Maybe the next kill team has been announced, and it's one of ours that we came up with today.
Maybe it's the Knights.
The Knight.
I mean, I have just come up with another crazy one that you'd probably love.
Maybe we'll come back. Maybe we'll come back to this as an episode idea, and because I think there is so much scope for teams within Kill Team that you could definitely do a bunch more. Mm-hmm. And as always, as I said in the Tanker Talk section, please feel free to share us on those various social medias, photos, what's happening in the community, things like that. We'd love to hear from everyone and have an opportunity to talk about some stuff that isn't ours, because we get to look at ours all the time, and we'd love to see what other people are working on. All I have to say is thank you very much, you two, for joining me on this little guest opportunity.
Thank you for hosting.
Hopefully I have done an okay enough job to be allowed to do it again.
No, you'll be allowed to do it again, don't worry.
I've been your host, John, and today I've been joined by... And... Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye!
See you later.
Ta-ta.